Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I've been sewing these warmies for Pickle. Are they good? Huh? You're going to come around this way and show your face. And I bought the pattern off Etsy, and I've been sewing this same pattern now since he was a puppy. But I wanted to sew this pattern online so you can not make the same mistakes that I did over the years. I've tried to perfect this pattern for him. Now Pickle he's an 8-kilo dog, but he should be 7. Shouldn't ya? Hey, the vet said you're too fat. What do you think? Huh? Do you think you're too fat? Actually, he put on that weight when I broke my ankle. Okay, so what I want to do, here's the one that I've just finished, and it's got little bees all over it, and it's so cute and it's so warm. So I've sewn all mine with polar fleece. I don't sew many summer ones. I usually just sew winter ones because I can get really cheap summer outfits from Kmart for him, and he doesn't wear a whole lot either in summer. But I go to Spotlight, get the 50% off polar fleece sales when they're on, and sew him new jackets. Hey, sew you new warmies, new jammies. Now what I do is I alter the pattern, and I'll just explain that, but please go to the link that I put on to the Etsy seller and buy her pattern, and then you can alter it to suit your dog. Pickle is even though he's a kilo fatter, he's pretty lean and long, and he's quite slim around the chest area, so I've had to alter that too. And he has got long legs, so I've had to alter those bits to suit him. And that's what you do for your own dog, you know. I suggest you buy a really cheap piece of polar fleece to practice on, and then you can get an idea how you can alter the pattern to suit your doggo. Hey Pickle, what are you doing over there? You want to go and get in your bed, don't you? Hey, you going to say bye to everyone? Alright, so I will change over to the desk and I will show you what I've done to alter this pattern, and we'll sew one up together. You say bye? You say bye? Are you looking for Daddy? He'll come. Okay, let's get started. Okay, now what you need to do is print out the appropriate size for your dog. This one for Pickle is a size L or large. She has, I think she's got extra small, small, medium, large, extra large. She's got quite a range of sizes there that can suit your doggo shape or size. Yeah, so I think I've got small, medium and large, and I used all them as Pickle was growing. So you need to cut out your pattern, because some of them you need to stick together. So basically do that. Now for Pickle, I had to cut this off. This is the front under his belly. I had to cut it off at an angle because this underbelly bit was too big for him, so I had to adjust that. I'm just going to tell you what parts that I adjusted for the winter jacket. The neck band, it only comes this wide, but I have adjusted this as well to suit a winter jacket. The width was the same, but the length is 5 inches or almost 13 centimeters. So I've adjusted that so it comes up the neck of him up to the base of his ears, which is nice and warm for him. The sleeves, I have added some length to the sleeve here. I'm not sure how much I added to that, but that depends on the length of your dog's legs. Okay, Pickle's got quite long legs because he is what they call a deer version of the Chinese crested hairless. So the length of these legs here I've adjusted, and I have also, now this is the main big part of the pattern. You put this on the fold, you put this one on the fold. Okay, it'll show you that in the pattern anyway. But this big main piece, I'll just show you what I've done here. This is all the same. Okay, this is the bit that goes over his back, and the pattern here said to cut up here, but I found this goes over the top of his tail, like his tail is here, and then that goes down around his legs. Now I found when I cut it here, it showed too much of his bum, and it sort of exposed, especially with a winter jacket, it exposed all of his back end and exposed, which you want out because he's got to do his business, but at the same time it sort of came around the sides of him, which I didn't like. So what I did is I drew up a different line that I followed, and when I do this again, I will completely cut that arch off, because it actually comes around and it hugs his bottom. Say that's his back end there, and that's his that's his bottom. It actually comes around and hugs his cheeks, but it still exposes his bottom to do his business. And I like that better for him. It's warmer for him, and I find that where this goes up under his belly, it exposes his little winky enough to do a wee. So it keeps him all warm and he can do all his business in it. So this is the main part of the pattern, but this is how much I've added onto it. Chuck that bit out. This is how much I've added onto it to make long winter pajamas, okay? And I think I added even an inch more to some of the fluffy ones, so I could turn it over and he could have a nice fluffy like frill on the end of his pants. So it's all, you know, trial and error and experiment when you do it for your dog, but this is how I've adjusted the pattern to suit my dog, and you can have a play with it to suit your own dog's shape. So we'll get started with sewing up the pattern. Okay, so this is the last of, how many did I make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I made 8 in this go, so that he's got a jumper every day, because he gets out in this, where we are on the border of New South Wales and Victoria in Wodonga. It gets really cold in winter because we can see the snow mountains from here, and it gets wet. It's wet, it's miserable. So this is why I've had to sew him, you know, quite warm jumpers. And I have to change it every day, because when we go out for a walk, he loves to dig holes. He loves to just be a dog and roll in things, and he's always getting dirty. And the polar fleece washes up really nice too, plus he goes to the dog park, and so yeah, we need to change these every day for him. And so what I've done is I've cut out 2, it'll say in the pattern, 2 of the leg sleeves, 1 neckline on the fold. Okay, so you get a nice long just piece like that, and these are all inside out. This is under his belly, so you do this one on the fold, and that's what it looks like when you fold it out. Okay, and then this big piece goes on the fold as well. This is his leg plus his upper body, like over his back, and that's his neckline there, and that's the bottom of his legs here. Okay, so that's a big one, and when it's folded out, it's the main big piece of the body. Right, so they're all the parts, and I'll bring the sewing machine in and we'll get started. Okay, I'm going to show you what order that I sew this jumper up that works really well. And in the instructions, I think it's very similar, but this is what I've found that works for me. And we get the neck piece, which is folded in half, and make sure that your outside fabric is facing the inside. First off, you sew down this seam here. Now I like to be neat and tidy, so I cut off all my threads as I go. Okay, so now you've sewn that up. Now what you want to do is just fold a little hem, and that's going to be the top of the neckline. And I don't bother to to pin this bit because I'm just used to doing it. I've taken the outside of this part of my machine off because I need to put this over. I need to put a few bits over this like that when I sew, so I just leave that off the sewing machine. And I'm going to do probably, I don't know, about a 3/4 inch seam, and that will go all around one side of the neckline. Okay, now you turn your neckline out the right way. So this is what you've got. You've got a nice little edge on the top of the neckline, and then this will get sewn into the body. So just put that aside for now. Now the next step is to get your big piece, which is the main body, and that goes down his back, and then the piece that goes under his belly, and you're going to sew both the shoulder pieces together here. So just line them up. You can put a pin in them if you like. I don't bother to put pins in everything because I've made so many of these, and every winter when I sew them, but the first one I sew, I always make mistakes. I guess you forget sort of little things. So this is why I want to do a video, just to remind myself, plus show you how I sew my doggo jumpers. So let's just sew both those shoulders together. And I don't do many back stitches because they all get sewn, or most of them get sewn into another seam. So that's why I sort of just go across and end it there. But you can do back stitches if you like, that's no problem. Now this pattern does have a hem allowance, which is, I don't know, about this much. What is it? Where'd my ruler go? So the seam allowance is, what am I doing? Oh, it's about, oh gosh, my numbers are rubbed off there. That's bad. It's 1 centimetre, or almost ½ an inch. So it does have a seam allowance, so don't panic on that. Give yourself that seam allowance when you're sewing. I usually put it so it goes just past my foot. Now, show you this problem. Sometimes your polar fleece will get stuck on the feed dogs, which is so annoying because it's fluffy. Make sure you put your polar fleece in just a little past where you've got to start. Then you can do a back stitch to go back, but yeah, if you start too close to the edge, the feed dog wants to pull it down. Alright, cut those bits off. So you've got the main part of his shoulders now together, and the next step is to get, oops, I didn't cut them off. I like to cut all my threads off as I go, then it's all nice and neat. Now this seam here that you've got in sorry it's so hard to see in this dark fabric. There's the seams down here, and what I'm going to do is like that. This has to be the right way round. I'm going to pop that down in my hole here for the neck. Get that seam in the middle of the belly part. See, this is the belly part of underbelly. So I'm going to match that up there. I like to open up the seam and just put a pin in it. This is where you do need to pin it. And then I'm just going to go all around, pin all around the neckline. Now if you come to the end and you've still got a little bit that's not matching up, don't panic. Just undo the pins, and you might have been too tight when you pulled it too tight when you matched some pieces up, so you can just loosen that off a bit in some places and make it match. And it's very forgiving, very, very forgiving. It doesn't matter if you've got a little nip or a tuck somewhere in the jumper. It's a dog jumper at the end of the day. All right, so we've got his neckline all pinned up, and this is why I've taken this section off my machine, because then I can slip the neckline over here and make sure before you start that the right part of the fabric is in its right spot. It's not, you know, in the wrong way, because that saves a lot of time in unpicking, which I have done in the past. Sewed things in the wrong way. And then you're just going to sew that neckline. Okay, and you can have a look at that when you turn it back in the right way. That's what the neckline is going to look like. That's all in nicely. There's a couple little tucks there, but that's totally fine. I don't mind that. Right, so we've got the neck on, and our next little job to do, grab your two front legs, and we're going to put a hem on it. So make sure that it's the inside is facing up, and I'm going to put about how big? About a 1.5 inch seam on this, because I did cut my legs longer, because I wanted them to come a bit longer down on his legs for winter. So this seam line all depends on the length of your dog's legs, right? So adjust that to suit your dog. Remember, in the pattern, this was very short, because it's a summer pajamas, but you can sew winter ones. So just sew that up. Okay, and to just neaten this up, once I've sewed my hem, I'm going to sew along the bottom line too, so they don't puff up, and that just gives me a nice neat finish to the ends of the legs. Okay, so when you flip it over, you can see that it's given me 2 lines here, which is going to hem the legs off quite nicely. Right, so you go ahead and you do that to the other one as well, and I like to just line it up to make sure I get the same fold, the same distance. And sew that one the same way with the 2 hems. Okay, we've got both the front legs now ready to go. Now we need to do the same to the back legs. So the back legs, we're going to hem them exactly the same way as we hemmed the front ones. So I want to measure that to make sure it's very similar. And I have put extra length on mine. I just need to keep saying that because that won't be in the pattern. So okay, so when you get your pattern, you do need to do some experimenting to suit your own doggo. Okay, so that's one back leg taken up, just like the front ones. And then we go over to the other side. Make sure that you've got the wrong side facing up when you fold it up, like that. I'll just put one pin in the middle because it doesn't need much pinning this bit. And do the two seams again. Now those two seams are done on the ends of the legs. Now one of the fleeces that I bought was fluffy. I don't know whether you can see that. Black's a bit hard to see. It was fluffy on the inside and had a pattern on the outside. And so when you do this with that fluffy fabric, instead of turning it in this way, you would turn it back to the front so that you get a nice little fluffy collar type thing. That's so hard to see. But what I did with that was give him a fluffy collar like everywhere. You know, a fluffy edge. Okay, so you would turn that not onto the inside, but you would turn that to the outside. That was a bit hard to see, that. Alright, my next job to do is to pin these arms in. Now you are going to get you're going to put this so faces up to you. Okay, this is the arch here where we're going to sew in these arms, and you can see here that there's a short circle and a longer circle. These need to match. Okay, it's not that one, it'll be this one. Okay, there's the shorter edge and the longer edge. Now make sure you put in the inside, you know, the right side of the materials together. So what faces up is at you is the outside on this, and you need to pin these because it's an arch shape. You need to pin it. What's happened here? I'll just cut that off so I can see where I'm going. Okay, so you need to pin around and follow those this arch shape. So make sure you get those seams together. When I get to an intersection here where there's a another seam, I flatten that seam out and try and pin it like that, and it just goes through the machine a lot easier. So when I get halfway, I match up the other side, and then it's going to be easier to judge how much. Oops, hang on. So match up the other side, and then I can see how much I need to tuck it all in. And they should match. If you've got them, you know, both going the right way, they will match. Okay, while I've got that pinned up, I go over to the other side and I put that down, this arch down, and just clip off I'll just clip off that bit. Okay, and then I match this one up, so making sure you put the right sides together and start on one side and just pin it together to the middle. So you're going to have one curving this way and another curving that way, but you have to match those seams up. Okay, when I get to that seam, that intersection seam, I just flatten that out. Because the fluffier your fabric is, the tougher your machine's got to work. But you can get a needle that's called a ball point, and that's good for polar fleece. So if you look for that needle called a ball point, it'll go through the polar fleece a lot easier. Now I'm just self-taught. I sewed puppets for years, so making these was sort of a bit of an extension of making a puppet outfit. It was quite easy to do. So it is beginner friendly if you have never sewn much before. It's very forgiving and beginner friendly. So make sure before you start that, yep, I've got them in the right way. And what you're going to do now is just sew around this arch that we've just pinned in on both legs. Okay, make sure as you sew this arch shape that you're catching underneath as well. You've got to keep checking that as you go, so that you're not so that it's not all folded up on itself. Sometimes it can catch on the fabric. All right, so that's one arm in. We'll go into the other arm where we've pinned and do the same thing. Make sure the fabric on the back is flat as well, because sometimes that can get caught up. Okay, so we've got all the parts sewn onto our jumper. Now we need to go to the back legs, okay, and we're going to sew them together. So put right sides together like this, and we're going to sew from here to here on the back legs. All right, so I don't pin them, I just sit them together like this and put them in my machine. Yeah, you don't need to really pin it, but if you feel more confident to pin, then go ahead and pin. I like to do a back stitch on things like the legs, bottoms of the legs and arms. Okay, so we've got one leg sewn up, back leg. Go to the other back leg and put the right sides together and do the same there. Okay, we've got the back legs done. Now here is an optional part. Now along here where his tail would sit in the middle, along the back, you can put a little hem. Now polar fleece doesn't fray, so this part is optional, but I like to do it only because I like it to look all neat. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but but you don't need to do this bit, because if you're using polar fleece, it won't fray. It will stretch, but it won't fray. If you're using any other sorts of fabric, you will have to put a little hem on the back, but I just put the tiniest little hem It's only like 1/2 centimetre, not even that, and I just do that along the tail area and under the belly area, which I'll show in a minute. So that's the right side, so it's just giving me just a little hemmed edge that looks like all the rest of the hemmed edges. That's the only reason I do it, not to stop it from fraying, because polar fleece doesn't fray. So I do the same to the underbelly area, which is this arched bit here. I just put a little 1/2 centimetre little hem on that. And I don't pin it, I just eyeball it. It's not, you know, it's not hard. Okay, so that's the little hem under the belly. It's a bit hard to see, but you can sort of see it on the lighter areas here. And that's just going to neaten it up for you. But those two bits are optional, you don't have to do them. Now we're almost finished. We've got both the back legs sewn together. Now we've got to sew the front. Now this finishes off the whole thing, because we are going to sew front leg, and then it will go right down the front leg, the length of the front leg, like that. Then it will go down to the underbelly, like that. So that's done in all one piece. And then our little dog outfit will be finished. It doesn't take long to make these things. I sew probably 3 or 4 in the day and have a break, and then sew a few more. I sewed 8 of them for him this winter. Oops, sorry. And he sat on the lounge and overseed everything that I've done, watching me. I think if you go to my community page, I think there's a photo there of him. He's so funny. Okay, so we're going to sew down that front leg right to his underbelly. Okay, that's one side finished, and our last side is the other front leg right down to under his belly, right down there. So quick and easy, these things, and the polar fleece is pretty forgiving, but make sure when you're sewing something for your dog that it's got a stretch in it, because they do need room to run and move in them. Right, let's move this out of the way so I can show you what we have. I'm very appreciative of this machine. It's a brother. It's a FS60X, and my husband got this for me for my birthday. Look, don't even waste your time with a cheap machine. I've had cheap machines all my life, and they have just caused me a load of grief. And I love this machine. Absolutely love it. I'm so appreciative of it. Now what you've got, this is what it looks like inside out, and we're going to turn it in the right way, or out the right way. This is the fun part where you get to try it on your doggo, and if you've taken all your measurements properly, it will fit perfect. Like I said, you do need to experiment with your dog's shape. We have to do this every year for Pickle to make him new jumpers, because he's a Chinese crested hairless. He gets very, very cold, and we need to look after him in the cold weather. So this is what it looks like. Here's your doggo jumper. That's the underneath, the legs, and this is the front, or the top, where it'll go over his back. And if you've got a fun pattern, you can experiment with what shows the most. Obviously, all this is going to show the most. Okay, these are all the other ones that I have sewn this winter. I'll show you them. I got 2 out of this fabric. Now, that's one thing I didn't say. I buy 1 meter of fabric, and that does the pattern really easily, and you'll have a little bit left over. My leftover, why I got 1 meter, I'm not sure whether you could do the large size in 1/2 meter. You could certainly do this extra small, small and medium just buying 1/2 meter, but the large one went a little bit over and I had to get 1 meter, which left me with a little bit extra. So the extra that I had left over of fabric, I gave it to my daughter because her little boy gets croup a lot, so she made him some neck warmers to keep he has to keep his neck warm in winter. So I gave her all my leftovers so she could make neck warmers for him, and so it didn't go to waste, the extra. But you could certainly do something with the little bit of extra that you get with that. So that's this one. This pattern, this fabric here, because it was furry on the inside, it had a wider, it was on a wider roll. So the 1 meter that I got of this one made 2 jumpers, which was excellent. So he's got 2. Where's the other one? Oh, the other one's here. So he's got 2 of these really warm, fluffy ones that he can use. Now he stays so toasty in these ones, and I had this one on him yesterday and he wasn't looking to get under the blankets or anywhere that he usually shouldn't in the daytime. He just stayed in his bed and he knew that he was all toasty and warm in there. And these are the ones that I, you know, put the fluffy collars on. And they look so cute on him. So that's 3. This one here I made first. And I had a few hiccups with that. You always have hiccups with the first one that you make. So I just put a different panel on the inside of this one. But the mistake I made here was that I didn't put this on the stretch. It doesn't stretch this way. Now it has to stretch around the body. It stretches that way, which is, it still fits him, but it's tight, it's fairly tight on him. So I wasn't real pleased with that one, but he'll still wear it. Okay, this one here, I had some high vis fabric. Whoa, my camera doesn't like the high vis. I've put a reflective strip on this one. Sorry about that. Oh gosh, camera had a big fit with that one. I'll chuck that one over there. He loves the high vis. I love the high vis because it's like Dave's work clothes, and Dave's boss goes, oh, he's got a job now. This one is super cute with all the little bees on it. It is super cute. Now he had this one on this morning and he started digging a big hole, so he's got some dirty feet happening on this one. This one here is fabric I had left over from another year, and it is fur. It's fake fur, but it was really thin. So what I've done is I've cut out 2 patterns for this, and I lined it all with fleece, so it's really thick and warm. And he looks super cute in this. He looks like, and it's nice touching him with this. It feels like he's got fur. So that one is really cool. I love this one on him. And my last one that I finished making just before you guys on camera is the little Yoda one. Now I've taken photos of Pickle and his ears are like this. They look like Yoda. So that was the little Yoda pattern. which I just totally love. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the electric one, 8 doggo jumpers for him this winter, and that's going to be enough to do him every day. And if he dirties one up, I've got another one to put on him. Oh, so that was a great sewing session for me and for Pickle. It was great this is the first project I've done on my new sewing machine, which I'm so happy with. I just love the machine. It's got an automatic threader and all these different functions. I just love it. I'm so appreciative of it. So I hope you've enjoyed looking at that and how I sew my dog jumpers. Like I said, I mainly just sew winter ones because I can get really cheap ones for summer from Kmart, and especially at the end of summer they'll have them on sale for $2. You know, you can't even buy the fabric for that. So yeah, it's mainly just the winter ones because we have a fairly long winter down here. In spring we get still cool weather, even in autumn, so he has a fairly long season of wearing the long dog jumpers. All right, so that's how I sew mine up. Remember to alter yours to suit the shape and size of your dog. That's really important, that they're comfortable, and yeah, you'll end up with some great jumpers. I'll show you this one on him, that how it came out. Alright, here's Pickle. We're going to put a shirt on, a jumper on. Now what you need to do is put the head on first. Yeah, sometimes he doesn't like it, sometimes he doesn't mind it. Sometimes he runs under the bed, little rat bag. So come on, I'm going to do this one-handed. There you go. Right, now I'll just turn it off because we put his front legs in next. Okay, so we've got his front legs in, and then you would put the back legs in. Okay, his back legs are in, and there you go. And he always gives himself a bit of a shake, which he's not going to today, but that's what he looks like in his jumper that I've just sewn. Hey, you look pretty cool, don't you? Huh? You look pretty cool. You say thanks, Mummy. Thanks, Mummy. Oh, he's waiting for Daddy to come home, aren't you? Are you waiting for Daddy to come home? He'll be home soon. All right, you going to say goodbye? Say bye. All right, thanks for watching. Press like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you soon for a new make. Bye.